talk about the elephant in the room. I had a stroke. He's never let me forget that. And I might miss some words during this debate, mush two words together, but it knocked me down, but I'm going to keep coming back up.
You had, of course, Fetterman, who's struggling. He's struggling with the effects of a stroke that he suffered in May. And, you know, I said, it's very obvious that he is impaired. His ability to communicate is impaired.
He's not impaired. Who the hell is Joe Scarborough? He's not a medical doctor. The man is not impaired. He just had a stroke. That's all. That's not impaired. And he needed an accommodation. You know, when I was a college professor at Cuyahoga Community College, we gave accommodations to students who had other needs. That's what that is called. He's not impaired at all. He is ready, willing, and able. He's on that battlefield, and he should be applauded for his courage to walk into the arena, even though he just had a stroke. And Joe Scarborough of MSNBC should be ashamed of himself, but he's not, because he said that so coolly, so casually. And guess what? It is a major GOP talking point. So it is of no surprise that Joe Scarborough would use it the very next day. For those of you who have loved ones who have ever had a stroke, you understand what the lieutenant governor is going through physically. But he hasn't missed a beat. He's still out there. He could have given up, but he did not. So how dare Joe Scarborough, or anybody else that wants to use this weak attack against this man who is out there standing strong and continuing his run for the US Senate. Kara Turrentine put it this way. She summed that up real well. Let's put up what she had to say. She said, we must reject this GOP talking point that it was irresponsible for John Fetterman to move into the general after his stroke. You can't just throw people away because they get sick, become differently abled, or because of age. Hashtag Senate debate. You got that right, Turrentine. You said that we cannot and we should not, because but by the grace of God, there go anybody, any of us or somebody that we love. How dare people be so heartless and cold-blooded that they want to judge this? And guess what? Debates are an artificial terrain. They're not real. This is not how real leaders lead. Leaders have teams. Takes teamwork to make the dream work. No leader does it all by themselves. There's somebody in the foreground, which is the person that was elected. And then there are lots of people in the background to help them. They're not doing this alone. So the debate is a false terrain. They had it, they did it. We knew what was gonna happen there, but shame on these Republicans. There's no depth too low for them to go. Jackson, I'm livid about it. I guess you could tell.
I could tell, and it's righteous anger. But first, I want to say that Dr. Oz's campaign really is just bizarre, because the more I see it, the more he really just seems to fit better if he would have ran as a centrist Democrat somewhere. Because most of the scrutiny that he's getting, I don't think he would have gotten it as a Democrat. For instance, like he wouldn't have even needed to make that statement about politicians being in the room, because I don't really truly believe that someone like Dr. Oz is like honestly against Roe, but he's running as a Republican, so he has to, play that part. And then also too, Republicans being, not really liking him because they don't see him as an authentic conservative for his supporting of shutdowns and wearing masks and stuff like that. So ultimately, with the money that he has, he really could have ran a better campaign, I think, as a Democrat, as a centrist somewhere, because he's got houses all over the place, so he could have ran anywhere. But also in terms of Fetterman, his biggest obstacle after the stroke was going to be his health. And I think that he's been handling it well. And what he has on his side is merit and experience in the state. So, which obviously Dr. Oz does not have on his side. So, I think that I've seen people make comments that the debate could have been set up a little different. But like you said, the debate isn't really where the work is done. So I'm hoping that things can continue strong for Fetterman's campaign, because I think that he's absolutely the man for the job.
Yeah, I'm right with you on that, Jackson. Indeed. Big ups to Lieutenant Governor Fetterman for all that he represents. for anybody that has ever had a stroke, and also for people who are otherly abled. He is a symbol at this moment. There are many symbols like that. And there have been other people who have had conditions who have served, even served in the presidency. President John F. Kennedy comes to mind, and also President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Both of those men come to mind. And I can tell you, Jackson, as someone that was on the campaign trail with Senator Bernard Sanders when he had that heart attack, and people wrote us off. They wrote him off, and then they wrote off the campaign, and he came roaring back, and he has not stopped even to this day. So what is the message in the bottle? What is the memo? What are the words in the sand? Don't give up on people and don't write them off. And absolutely do not tell people what they can and cannot do. John Fetterman is a grown man. And he knows whether or not he can continue this journey. And baby, he's continuing this journey, and the doctor gave him the seal of approval. So for Joe Scarborough's and the other GOP, y'all can go hit the road, Jack. And there's some Jills in this too. And don't come back no more, no more, no more, no more.